Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article here from CNN and quickly taking a look at this one here. I was just going to let this kind of slip by because I was like, yeah, it's just their demented, retarded spurgery with how it initially started, but because it looked like it wasn't going to go anywhere. Now, on the other hand, you have Republicans joining in like cocaine Mitch McConnell here. McConnell reportedly circulating impeachment plans as Twitter, big tech unperson Trump. Yeah, okay, that's exactly what is going on here. McConnell's circulating things on how they're going to go about impeaching Trump. They are scared shitless of Trump. They know on the way out the door he could declassify a lot of stuff. He could expose a lot of their like shitbaggery and their shady stuff. They know this. So instead of just letting things run their course, no, they're going to show that, okay, maybe they have something to fear besides that as well, if you think about it. All right, I should have got into that actually too, because if this was the safest, most securest election and it was completely legit and everything was perfect and they had nothing to worry about, they would not be acting the way they are right now. They're afraid that something could come up between now and the end of Trump's term that could royally screw them. That's what they're afraid of. This makes absolutely no sense if everything was perfect with the election and everything else. I mean, and the runoffs, you know, which we just saw the same exact thing happen as the 2020 election. We're supposed to just go nothing to see here. Fulton County stopped counting. Oh my God, you know, perfectly normal, perfectly legit. They're scared shitless right now. They committed a coup. And now they're worried about the consequences before Trump gets out of office. They're worried about what he'll say or what he'll do. That's why you've got social media, you know, removing his ass. It's not about, quote unquote, inciting violence. He was calling for the violence to end, for there to be no violence, for there to be civility. Literally. And they're saying, well, that's an incitement of violence. And I'm telling you, that's retarded you saying that. Anyway. Let's get into this article here written by Claire Floran that was published on the 7th. Title here, Call Grows in Congress for Trump to be removed by impeachment or the 25th Amendment. Yeah, they're scared shitless. Less than 2 weeks left and they're freaking out. They're going to, instead of actually worrying about the needs of the American people, they're going to try to impeach him or get him out by the 25th Amendment ASAP. This is like seriously retarded shit. It took them how many months to come up with $600? You know, less than 10% of the $900 billion for a supposed COVID relief bill, when 90+% is going outside the country to like Pakistan for like new age gender studies. You know, part of it's going there and going all these other countries. You know, when Americans need relief at this point because the government has said you got to lock your shit down. You can't go to work. You can't run your business. You can't do this. You can't do that. It just goes to show where their priorities are. Saving their own skin, saving their own hide, saving their own asses. Anyway, let's get into the article here. A growing number of lawmakers, including from Democrat leadership, are calling for President Donald Trump to be removed from office either through impeachment or the 25th Amendment to the Constitution after a violent mob of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday. Now, they're going to run with that narrative, okay? Violent. The only ones who are really trying to cause problems and stir shit up, okay, were Antifa infiltrators that tried to set the place on fire, you know, incite violence. These people were like proven to be, you know, far leftist activists and stuff like that by the autists of the internet who went through the video footage of those people that were inciting the, you know, trying to incite violence, trying to set the place on fire. And they matched them to Antifa members, to these far leftists in videos from where they were actually doing their usual spiel, but on the side of Antifa. You know, and we're just supposed to ignore that. That never happened. We're just supposed to go along with their bullshit. And they're trying to make it sound like the actions of these individuals are the fault of Trump, so we need to impeach him on it. We need to remove him. That makes absolutely no sense. What you're saying is the people who were there are not accountable for their own actions. Trump is. And that's completely retarded. If you think people are going to buy into this, I'm sorry, low information, low IQ people might, because they always blame everyone else for their problems. But instead of putting the blame where it belongs, let's put it on Trump, because we got to get him out of office because we're scared shitless of him. These people are ridiculous. Anyway, Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer put out a statement Thursday denouncing the insurrection at the Capitol, incited by the president, and saying, this president should not hold office one day longer. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi joined the call later Thursday at a news conference. And here's the thing, insurrection. You didn't say it was an insurrection, Chucky, when your freaking cousin, Amy, fat and ugly fuckwit, okay, Schumer, went to the goddamn Capitol and did the same exact shit, you sleazy bastard. You didn't call out your cousin there. What they did the same exact thing. You are a sleazebag, dude. All of these people are sleazebags. We know now who the politicians are that are legitimately, going to do something for the people, at least on the note of if they know their ass is on the line. We know what's what now. Anyway, moving on. I joined the Senate Democrat leader in calling for the vice president to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment, Pelosi said. If the vice president and the cabinet do not act, the Congress may be prepared to move forward with impeachment. That is the overwhelming sentiment of my caucus and the American people. No, it isn't. The American people. Yeah, okay, sorry. Half the country, over half the country, if we don't, if we take into account voting irregularities and other things, over half the country says otherwise. A large chunk of them happen to be in Washington. This is ridiculous. The calls have come largely from Democrats so far, but at least one congressional Republican has joined in. GOP Rep. Adam Kinzinger of Illinois, a frequent critic of the president, has called for the 25th Amendment to be invoked, saying in a video message on Thursday, the president must now relinquish control of the executive branch voluntarily or involuntarily. Again, if this was a legit election, if everything was perfectly fine, they wouldn't be acting like this. Seriously, they would let him stay his 12 or 13 days, whatever it's left by the time you're watching this video. And they would just let their anointed one, that was from the most perfect, safest election ever, according to CISA and Dominion, who's a part of it, they would just let the transition happen normally. But they can't because they're running scared. And they honestly think people aren't going to go, there's something a little bit fishy about that. This is ridiculous. Invoking the 25th Amendment will require Vice President Mike Pence with a majority of the cabinet to vote to remove Trump from office due to his inability to discharge the powers and duties of his office, an unprecedented step. Yes, well, he's able to discharge his duties, so how can you get him out by the 25th Amendment? You're admitting here what the 25th Amendment says, and obviously it cannot be used to get him out, because he can discharge his duties. You just don't want him to. Pence has not discussed invoking the 25th Amendment with any cabinet officials, administration official tells CNN. Of course not. Schumer said during a press conference that he and Pelosi tried to call Pence to invoke the amendment to oust Trump from office, but they were put on hold for 25 minutes and then were told he would not come to the phone. Schumer said if the vice president and cabinet do not remove the president, Congress should reconvene to impeach Trump ASAP. CNN has reached out to Pence's office for comment. Now, this is the thing. While the impeachment's going, he can still do what they're afraid of. These people don't think things through. They're seriously deluded. These people are clearly showing that we're living in a banana republic, and they expect us to just be like, okay, everything's hunky-dory. Sir, this is some twisted shit. Oh my God. At a separate press conference, Pelosi called Trump a very dangerous person who should not continue in office. This is urgent. This is an emergency of the highest magnitude, she said. Asked how long she would wait to see if the 25th Amendment would be invoked before potentially pursuing impeachment, Pelosi said, "Well, there's only 13 days left. Any day can be a horror show for America," adding, "My members are very much interested. My phone is exploding with impeach, impeach, impeach. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. You're going to impeach him for the actions of others. You people are seriously retarded." He didn't incite violence. He said, stop being violent if you are. He called for civility. You people are seriously messed in the head. Any 25th Amendment push faces an unprecedented steep hill to come to fruition with little time before Biden's inauguration. The calls in Congress, however, underscore the extent to which lawmakers are reeling and furious with the president in the wake of the devastation at the Capitol on Wednesday. You mean the devastation where the Capitol Police moved the barriers, let the people storm the Capitol, invited them in, waved them in? There's video of this. This was staged. They wanted a Reichstag moment. They wanted a Reichstag fire to happen at the Capitol so that they could push this and get them out quick, but it didn't happen. You had Trump supporters there stopping the leftist activists, the leftist infiltrators from starting fires and inciting violence. And they're still going to go with the same friggin' narrative. They think we're all stupid. Well, the average person that might read this shit, that might listen to CNN or watch it, yes, they are. They're low information, low IQ. Trust me. I'm realizing that with people who used to be my friends that I drank the Kool-Aid because of CNN and MSNBC. You know, I just ignored him when he overestimated his intelligence and would talk about how he's wicked smart and, you know, like this super genius and shit. And I'd just be like, yeah, dude, whatever. But thinking he was of, you know, average IQ and just a lying, you know, a lying idiot like Lion Ryan from the, you know, Psych. The episode, what was it? Actually, I think it was titled Lion Ryan from the, you know, from Psych, okay? With the guy from Weekend at Bernie's. I just thought he was like that, just one of those guys that's a compulsive liar, because he is. But I just figured that was that. But he's even dumber than me thinking he was average IQ. He's dumber than that. And I'm looking at people that are going to buy into this shit. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, yep, things are just going to get worse. Because they're going to rile those people up even more. And they're going to use them to now go after Trump supporters. We're just looking at the beginning of stuff. All right. And once they're done with this retarded shit, they're going to come after the Trump supporters. They already are. You've got the leftists that are running the airlines and the flight attendant unions calling for the banning of Trump supporters from flights. And they're trying to make it sound like it's the ones who were at the Capitol, but you read their statements and you look into it, how they're worded and things like that. And the idea is they want to expand it to all Trump supporters. If they could, they would get us all on no-fly lists. Senator Patty Murray, the number 3 in Senate Democrat leadership, has also said it's time to invoke the 25th Amendment. You can't. He can discharge his duties. The most immediate way to ensure the president is prevented from causing further harm in the coming days is to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove him from office. But he has to be incapacitated for it. You can't do it. This is how ridiculous these idiots, you know, are acting. They honestly believe that something that has to be used when the president's incapacitated can be used to just remove him because they're afraid of him in his final days and possibly, you know, exposing their sleazy shit and declassifying a bunch of stuff. That's what they're fearing. As history watches, I urge Vice President Pence and the President's cabinet to put the country before party and act. She said in a statement, "Put the country before." You guys didn't put the country first. You put the party first. You people with all the shady, shifty, sleazy shit, the voting irregularities that we're supposed to say are absolutely imaginary. The ones, you know, we're supposed to say because it's the safest and most securest election ever because CISA said so, and Dominion's on the board of CISA, and they investigated themselves, and there was nothing to see there. You know, we're supposed to just, you know, look at that and say, okay, you put the country first. Yeah, kiss my ass. House Oversight Committee Chairwoman Carolyn Maloney of New York, a New York Democrat, on Thursday, backed removing Trump from office either through the 25th Amendment or impeachment. Invoking the 25th Amendment is the quickest way to do this, and expedience must be our goal, she said, adding, if Vice President Pence and Cabinet fail to act, we have a duty to pursue impeachment. For what? For the actions of other people. This is how twisted and retarded they are. They're using something that other people did to try to get the president out of office through the 25th Amendment, which they can't do because he's not incapacitated, or by impeachment, which impeachment, you impeach him for his actions. not the actions of others. He did not incite violence. He called for civility. He called for violence to end. Other prominent Democrats have urged impeachment in the wake of the mob violence at the Capitol that took place as a joint session of Congress met to count the electoral votes, affirming President-elect Joe Biden's win amid false claims from Trump that the election was rigged against him. Yes, because it was the most safest, securest election ever. Give me a break. Over half the country does not buy this bullshit. Yet they're going to keep trying to sell it. Over half the country at this point. Okay? Polls have shown over half. Do not believe the bullshit they're slinging on this about how there was, how the election was perfectly legit and everything else. And they think that there was shady shit with the election. Over half the country. Why do you think YouTube wants to ban that and other Silicon Valley supposed platforms from being said? Because they don't want it spreading past that point. They think they can control the narrative when over half the country believes that. But hey, whatever. Rep. Hakeem Jeffries, the House Democrat Caucus chairman, tweeted on Thursday, Donald Trump should be impeached, convicted, and removed from office immediately. For what? You've got nothing. But you got, Cocaine Mitch getting involved in this too, because he's scared shitless because he's a swamp creature. They're all swamp creatures, all these ones who want this. 3 members of the House Judiciary Committee, Reps. Jamie Raskin, David C. Saline, and Ted Lieu, are circulating to colleagues an impeachment resolution calling Trump's actions an abuse of power. How is it an abuse of power? He said, stop the violence. That's not an abuse of power. They wrote that Trump violated the Constitution by willfully inciting violence against the government of the United States. He did not incite it. He said, come down and show your support. Oh my God. He did not incite violence. He did not tell them to come down and storm the Capitol. He did not say any of these things. Oh my God. This is ridiculous shit. All 4 members of the Progressive Squad of Democratic lawmakers, Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Anya Presley, have also spoken out in support of impeachment in wake of the violent siege of the Capitol. They've been calling for impeachment since day one. Of there being in office or Trump being in office, whichever came first. I am drawing out articles of impeachment. Donald J. Trump should be impeached by the House of Representatives and removed from office of the United States Senate. We cannot allow him to remain in office. It's a matter of preserving our republic, and we need to fulfill our oath, Omar tweeted Wednesday. Preserving our republic. You mean preserving your criminality, your graft, and all that, and siphoning money to your husband, and, the corrupt bullshit that you've been involved in? Shut up. Preserving the republic. If you wanted to preserve the republic, there would not have been any, abnormalities in key counties and key states, and logic and math and statistics and everything else. The laws of them would not have been defied by the election. Shut up. This is on Donald Trump, period. He called folks to D.C. and gave them marching orders. He called them to D.C. to show their support for stop the you-know-what. He needs to be impeached and removed immediately, Tlaib tweeted Wednesday. Yeah, kiss my ass, Tlaib. With Biden's inauguration date fast approaching on January 20, it's highly unlikely that there would be adequate time or political will in Congress for any kind of impeachment effort. They're trying, though, and look, you've got Cocaine Mitch now involved in this. The Democrat-led House of Representatives impeached Trump already in 2019. In order to remove a president from office through impeachment, the Senate must vote to convict after impeachment trial, which... yeah, he wasn't impeached. That's the thing. Impeachment. You're bringing articles of impeachment. They go to the Senate, and the Senate decides whether he's actually physically impeached or not. Okay, whether he's convicted of impeachment. He was not convicted of impeachment, so you can't say he was impeached. It doesn't work like that. Because he was not impeached. Articles of impeachment were drawn up, but the Senate trial found him not guilty. But anyway, so we must vote to convict after impeachment trial. That did not happen in the GOP-controlled Senate when Trump was ultimately acquitted. Yes, so that means he wasn't impeached. Thank you. After the pro-Trump mob was cleared from the Capitol, lawmakers reconvened late in the evening to continue the electoral vote count. Congress completed the count and finalized Biden's win in the early hours of Thursday morning because, yes, it was supposedly mostly ceremonial. And they needed to get there and get it done because of the ceremony. It wasn't because it's required by the Constitution or anything like that. It was ceremony. This is ridiculous shit. People, wake up. This is how they're portraying the situation. They're trying to get Trump out of office, okay? You got Cocaine Mitch, who wields a lot of power with the establishment shitbricks in the Republicans, circulating a thing around about impeaching him. They're not good. If this was legit with the election, if everything was perfectly above board, okay, then his 12, 13 days left, whatever, left at this point, by the time you watch the video, might be 11. If this was all legit with the election and everything else, and they had nothing to worry about, this would be a non-issue. They are using the actions of others to try to go after Trump. This is how desperate they are. This should show you that we live in a banana republic. They can't even wait the 12 or 13 days to get him out of office. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm leaving things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.